Do you notice anything different about my hair or anything?
No. Should I?
I got a haircut, dude.
Really? Which one?
Yeah, that's what you fucking deserve.
That damn smoker's cough. I've just gotten over a cold.
10 cigarettes a day is probably not helping you out.
I've just gotten over a cold, but I'm still a bit like wheezy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
wheezing?
easy. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So today we're talking about Doctor Who again. Yeah. But this time we're talking about season 1. We're going all the way to the start.
Of the revived series.
Yeah, not William Hartnell, because, well, I haven't seen
there's
it.
a couple of those episodes we couldn't watch anyway.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, well, yeah. We're talking series 1 of the revived series with Christoper Eccleston.
Yeah, boy.
In his one and only season as the Doctor.
R.I.P.
He's not dead, but he regenerated.
So I guess he is
dead.
Like his doctor is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he says that in the finale. But anyway.
Oh yeah, he says he's dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tyler's been watching season 1 again for like the last week or two.
Yeah. Just like a week.
How many times have you seen it?
A few. I've
Okay.
seen it way more than every other season of Doctor Who.
Because it's the best season, buddy.
It is.
And that is not a hot take.
This season and season 10 of the revived series are like the best seasons of Doctor Who.
Well, that's a hot take.
I will not elaborate further. That statement is factual. Like this season and season 10.
All right.
Rose in season 1, Bill in season 10, best companions.
They're pretty good.
Capaldi in season 10, ooh, incredible. Yeah. But Eccleston, my God, man.
We're gonna have a chat after this because that's a hot take. I do love season 10.
I haven't.
Don't get me wrong.
Honestly, though, it has been over a decade since I last watched seasons 2, 3, and 4, like with Tennant.
Yeah.
So
okay.
And it's probably. No, you know what? I started watching season 1 again like a year ago.
Yeah.
And I watched like 4 episodes and then got busy and stopped. And then I watched like Rose again and then stopped. And then like I've actually committed and watched the whole thing again this time.
Glad you can actually commit to things.
Thanks, man.
Hey, you're welcome.
But yeah, I actually only watched this for the first time in 2012.
Really?
Yeah, I was not into Doctor Who pre-2012.
I keep forgetting that.
Yeah,
I've been watching it for longer than you have.
Yeah,
but
you were
like,
watching this like when it was coming out, weren't you?
Yeah. I don't want to elaborate too much because we got a lot to talk about.
I have 4 pages of notes in front of me.
Yeah. I'll try and wrap it up real quick. So I started getting into it when season 3 was airing.
So 07?
07, yeah. So my dad came back from England and he brought home a Christoper Eccleston DVD. I think it was the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I sort of watched, I think Boomtown was the first episode I ever saw of Doctor Who.
Whoa,
which is a pretty good entrance.
One
yeah, I know.
Watch,
I know, right? Yeah. So it was Boomtown and then The Parting of the Ways, 2 episodes for that.
Yeah.
And then season 3 was airing and I didn't love it because the first 2 episodes I watched that was the Dalek ones. And I saw the Pig Boys.
Daleks in Manhattan. Fuck, dude.
I saw the Pig Boys. I was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
And then I remember Dad watching 42 when that was airing.
Oh, 42 is a good episode. Yeah.
And then I watched, I think it's just the Family Blood episodes and
Human Nature.
Yeah. Ooh. It was a very good season to get into.
Anyway, but that's like multiple podcasts down the line from here.
Yeah.
It's a good season, though.
It's a really good season. It's probably my favorite David Tennant season. We'll get into that later. But yeah, and I've been watching Doctor Who ever since.
Yeah. It was one of those things. I may have said this on the podcast before, but like, I was always told in primary school to watch it. I was always told in high school to watch it. And one day in like 2012 over the September holidays, one of my friends was like, fucking just okay. And he brought his box set of seasons 1 through 4 and the specials to school for me. And he's like, take this home, watch it over the holidays. He's like, for God's sake, like,
those
watch it.
They're not the ones in your bookcase,
no,
right?
No,
you gave it back.
It was his. Yeah, I gave it back.
Yeah, all right.
But like at this point, the reason he gave it to me is because I just started watching some classic Who. My first ever episode I watched was Remembrance of the Daleks, which is season 25, episode 1.
Is that
Sylvester McCoy, 7th Doctor.
Yeah.
That was the first episode I ever saw.
Okay.
And then Sci-Fi ran through the rest of McCoy, and then it repeated back to the start of Pertwee.
Yeah.
So I watched a little bit at the end of McCoy, a little bit at the start of Pertwee.
Yep.
So I'd seen the Ortons, the window shop dummies, in their original appearance before I then chucked on Rose and got into Eccleston. So I was like, Whoa, I
my
get
God.
this reference.
I didn't realize for the longest time that they were a classic Doctor Who villain.
I mean, yeah, they'd only appeared twice, though, like the Nestine Consciousness.
Yeah. They were Nestine in the original episode?
Yeah, so
that's
it was,
what they're called. Okay.
Yeah, season 7 episode, serial 1, and then season 8 serial 1. The
Yeah.
second Autumn episode is the first episode with the Master in it.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
He talks about the Autons in season 3.
Yep, yeah.
Throwbacks.
Anyway, yeah.
Love it.
So, I mean, like, look, I wrote notes on each
Yeah.
episode, but some of the notes, like my notes for Rose, half of it is just me wanting to repeat some lines that the Doctor says.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like there are a couple of things in here like that. I did not write much for some of the episodes, but we'll talk about those.
That's fair. We'll get to it.
Let's just jump in.
Let's jump right into it.
So Rose.
It is a very good season opener.
Holy crap,
It's
is
so
it a good
good.
season opener.
And I actually started watching season 1 again last week. So,
Yeah, yeah.
I've watched season 1 a million times, so I could talk about it a lot, but I just wanted to watch it last week, and I got up to Father's Day.
Yeah.
But Rose it's so much better than I remember it.
Every time I watch it, I am so surprised with how good it is and how well it has held up.
Yeah.
In the past, you know, nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, it is seriously incredible.
It's really good. It does such a good job as painting Rose as just this ordinary human being.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate the first 2 minutes so well now. I was
Yeah.
watching it again last week. She's just living this ordinary life. This, you know, you see the 7:30 come up on her clock, and then she goes to work all day. And I'm like, dude, I feel that.
Yeah, man. Like, on that grind. Like,
On that working grind.
Yeah, needs to leave, but then has to do one final thing before she goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the first thing I wrote for this episode was the most perfect opening episode for any show ever.
Yeah.
Normally,
Any show ever.
honestly, like, I think it might be.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
normally pilot episodes are like, you know, shows that I absolutely adore, like Community.
Yeah.
Fucking hate its pilot episode.
Yeah. I didn't
it's-
love it.
It's no good.
Yeah.
Like, and like even Always Sunny, like it's got a really strong opening episode, but like
Yeah.
it gets way better. Whereas like Rose like sets the bar.
Yeah.
It's not building up from there. Like it hits there.
Yeah.
And then keeps going at that.
Exactly.
And it's so impressive.
Yeah.
And one thing that I absolutely love is that the entire episode and then moving forward through the rest of the season, the Doctor is almost a secondary character.
It's
because
definitely
you're-
more focused on Rose.
Yeah, you're seeing everything through Rose's eyes.
Yeah.
Makes complete sense because, you
Yeah.
know, she is, the companion has always been the audience stand-in.
Yeah.
But it's just brilliant because,
Yeah.
those opening 2 minutes, they characterize Rose so perfectly.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, dude.
Dude, poor
fantastic.
I knew you were going to drop that at some point. Had to be said.
Yeah, but poor Mickey.
Poor Mickey. He gets a rough end of the
guy.
stick in this one.
Every
Jeez.
episode he's in, I'm like, oh, this poor dude. Oh, the one thing that has not aged well, the fucking plastic
bins.
Mickey pizza.
Pizza. I'm like, what the fuck?
And when the Doctor shoots the champagne cork into his head, it goes.
It just goes. No, that's great. That's hilarious.
He rips off his head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
God,
like-
it's so funny.
I thought you were going to talk about the bit when he gets eaten up by the bin.
Oh, yeah. Coming from that.
Yeah.
Holy shit,
Oh,
dude.
man.
It's so good.
It hasn't aged well, but like it's still, I don't know. It looks funny, but it's
Funnily
great.
enough, I feel like 60s Doctor Who has aged better
Yeah,
than the
than that.
CGI because they weren't using CGI. Like,
Yeah.
you know, they
Yeah.
actually were just building things. And so it looks of its time because, you know, they built it that way. But, like,
Yeah.
the CG has aged pretty poorly.
Yeah, but it's proof that you don't need good CGI to have a good episode, to write a good story.
It, like, momentarily took me out of it, but I was
Yeah.
like,
It's
know,
like, nah,
I
it's
was
its
still on board.
charm. It's the
I was
charm.
straight back in when my man said pizza.
Oh god. Do you have any like favorite moments from the first episode?
Well,
Oh, okay.
Well, I actually wrote it down.
Oh, you actually wrote it down.
Well, because I think that, like, you know, this episode is perfect to introduce people. It's perfect to introduce people to Doctor Who. And,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
the little speech that I'm saying I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to fucking read the whole thing. The little speech that the
Yeah.
Doctor gives when Rose is like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
And he turns around and he says, "You know how we were saying." Like, I'm not going to do the
Try to
accent.
talk like him. Do it.
No, I'm not going to say that. Do you know, like we were saying about the Earth revolving? It's like when you're a kid, the first time they tell you that the world is turning, and you just can't quite believe it because everything looks like it's standing still. I can feel it.
Yeah.
The turn of the Earth. The ground beneath our feet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. The entire planet is hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour, and I can feel it.
Yeah.
We're falling through space, you and me, clinging to the skin of this tiny little world. And if we let go, that's who I am.
I imagine that whole scene just in my head when he drops
her hand.
Yeah.
That's who I am.
Dude.
Now forget me, Rose Tyler.
Yeah. Tyler.
Go home. And he waves the autumn hand. Yeah. Go home.
Oh, God.
Like, yeah, it's just...
He's my favorite Doctor for a reason.
He just... I don't know. It's just that little speech is just perfect.
Yeah.
Because he answers the question, but he doesn't answer the question. And you're just like, you're left more confused.
Yeah, like, I don't know what you meant by that, but also...
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's... And, like, even then, like, all of the decisions that the characters make in these episodes, like, they're just real people making real decisions.
Yeah.
Like, when they're being chased by Mickey, like, you know, with his hammer arms.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Doctor just strolls into the TARDIS. And Rose is like, what are you doing? Going into that box?
Yeah.
And, like, you know, runs in, doesn't believe what she sees, runs back out to where there is danger to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Before then deciding, fuck it, I'm better off in there and running straight back in again. And that is just, like... That, to me, is the moment that characterizes Rose so perfectly. And then, obviously, you know, like, her deciding at the end to, like, swing down and help the Doctor on the chain. And then, like, just fucking going, see ya, kissing Mickey and fucking like, running away.
Poor Mickey.
Poor Mickey, man.
He's a bit of a douche, though. At least at the start of season 1.
I want to talk more about Mickey when we get to Boomtown.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's perfectly encapsulated, like, when Rose... She's like, she go down to the basement of the department store and she thinks the plastic dummies are just students.
Yeah. And the Doctor's like, why do you think that? And she explains and he's like, very good.
Yeah.
They're not students. Like,
stuff like that. And when she's like trying to research who the Doctor is and just goes onto her fucking old PC, just writes like, Doctor.
And like goes and talks to someone who's like, goes and talks like a fucking lunatic who's like, he's an alien.
Sidebar, rest in peace, Clive.
Is he dead?
Is he Clive? Yeah.
I thought you meant the actor.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he gets fucking iced by an autumn later in the episode. He just gets shot in the face.
Just that moment when his face goes blank and you're like, oh, he knows. He knows.
Yeah, his face went blank, but the Orton hand didn't, you know? Anyway.
That was good, dude.
Thanks, man. I've been working on that in my head. I was just really hoping you'd say it.
It was really good. And I just love the way this episode starts bringing in the Time War. Actually, I really love how they do it across the entire series.
But they don't mention it in this episode. He just says something about there was a war and I lost.
No, it wasn't. He's talking to the Nestine consciousness.
He does
like,
at
it wasn't
the
my
end.
fault, sort of thing.
Yeah. But like, and again, because you don't hear the other side of that conversation.
Yeah.
Because again, we're getting it through Rose's perspective.
Yeah.
And so it's building this mystery.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, the way that they build up the Time War and the Time Lords and then obviously the Daleks and as we move through the season and Bad Wolf and like, fuck, dude.
It's so good. There's no, like, I don't think any other season in Doctor Who's built up. I really wish season 6 did it this well. You know, like with the silence and Good Man Goes to War. Like, they fucked it.
Yeah, it's... I still like... I'm a season 6 apologist. I still really like season 6.
Fair.
I understand that it fucking stinks in some places, but I still really like the concept. I just wish it was better executed.
Yeah.
But I love the concept and it's executed well.
Yeah.
The next 2 episodes, I kind of don't want to spend too long on because I don't have much to say.
Fair.
Because they're fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, especially the End of the World.
One, End of the World is so...
That one to me feels the most dated in the whole series.
Yeah.
I wrote down for this one, a strange episode with some strange ideas, like the single button in the steward's room which kills him instantly. Like, what the fuck is that? He's in his room and this little robot comes over and pushes the kill the single occupant of the room button. And then the sun starts and he's like, no! And I'm like, just get out, dude. It goes so slowly.
Yeah.
You're just sitting in the chair and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
And where's the stop button, by the way?
You'd think that... No, wasn't there like an override and he was like trying to stop it?
No, he literally did not try. He literally just turned around and looked at the sun and went, oh no.
Well, that's like the other blue character who's like in the pipes or the exhaust thing and the spiders come and they like drag her somehow.
Yeah.
She falls
it's
in.
Weird,
You're like,
man.
Okay. I don't know. I think it's a good episode in the sense like of course, the first place you would time travel to is the end of the world.
And I think, like, showing Rose is, like, she's like, yeah, let's go. And then, like, her getting a bit of, like, culture shock and, like, needing to leave. Like, looking at all the aliens, looking at Lady Cassandra, who's like, I'm the last human. And, like, her just stepping out and being like, this is too fucking much. This is weird.
Again, it's such, like, a human, natural response to all of that kind of stuff. She's just so written so well. I hope we
never get to Jodie Whittaker's seasons. Because, like, damn, like, we're going to look back at what we're saying here and go, I wish it was that. Yeah. But it's none of that.
I'm sure we'll be constructive about it.
Oh, well, there's actually already a 5-hour video essay about the first 2 of Jodie Whittaker's seasons that I highly recommend. It's called The Fall of Doctor Who, written and obviously then recorded and posted by JXE.
Yeah.
I've seriously watched that video like 4 times.
I know.
Like, I've watched it, like, I've spent 20 hours of my life watching that same video.
You keep suggesting for me to watch it.
It is.
And I haven't watched it.
Perfection in terms of, and a lot of the things that JXE says in that video link back to, like, you know, Rose was such a well-written character. Let's see how a human responds in this situation. Yeah. Now let's see how they wrote it in the 13th Doctor's season. And it's...
None of them are just written, like, as natural human beings.
Whereas Rose in this episode, and even fucking Jabe, the tree...
Yeah, I want to talk about
more
Jabe.
Of a human being.
Yeah, and she's a tree.
And she's a fucking tree, dude.
There's 2 moments I want to talk about. The when they're meeting all of the different aliens for this first time... Yeah. So funny.
Air from my lungs.
Yeah.
How intimate. Like,
I'll give you the gift of my bodily salivas. Spits on Rose.
That's so funny, dude.
And then when Cassandra comes in, she's like, this is an iPod. And this is a jukebox.
And let's play a traditional Earth ballad.
Tainted Love. No, it's Tainted Love.
Oh, no, and then Toxic plays later. Yeah.
And the doctor just dancing to it. Yeah.
His dancing is fantastic.
It's so...
Fantastic!
It's kind of hard, dude.
Dude, I actively say the word fantastic in my everyday life because of this show. Like, I'm sure lots of people do.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't say Allons-y. I'm not a fucking weed. But, like... But I say fantastic because it's fantastic.
But I don't know, it's just like that. Those moments just really captures like the comedy of the show, but the comedy of the 9th Doctor. It's just so camp. Yeah, but I love it to death.
I'm like, but then in the same episode, you get a moment where, you know, Jabe scans him.
I was going to talk about that.
Yeah, and then later on is like, you know, the scanner didn't believe it. Like, you're meant to be dead. Like, I'm so sorry. And you see like a single tear roll down the Doctor's cheek.
Yeah.
And, it's fantastic.
I'm just remembering so many quotes and so many scenes from that episode. I like want to talk about them all, but I can't.
The other goofy thing is when the Doctor's like, hold this down, and the fans just stop. And he doesn't just stroll through and turn off the box. He just fucking takes his sweet-ass time to get through
pretty
them.
Quick.
No.
Those fans are going pretty quick.
Not when she first pulls it down.
Yeah.
Like, if he had have not just stood there and looked back at her so much. Like, just walk, dude. Just walk through them.
Are you saying you could have just walked through that
Straight up, dude.
Although the very last fan, when he just sort of
he just phases through it. Yeah.
Like,
I like it though.
It's cool, but like...
It's painting the Doctor in this mystery. Yeah. And it's like, how the fuck did he do that?
Yeah.
And you know, when he gets scanned and they're like 2 hearts and you're like, what the fuck?
You're like, oh my God. And when they get back to Earth and he starts telling Rose, they're like, my home is gone. You're like, fuck,
and that response from Rose when she's like, he's like, oh, do you smell chips?
Yes, like, I want chips.
Yeah, and I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah, man.
That ending moment of that episode, where he talks about the Time War and he's like, you know, I'm the last of my kind.
Yeah.
And yeah.
The thing is, when I watched this, because I didn't realize that in classic Who, they've gone to Gallifrey 100 billion times. Time Lords were a thing. But like, I had knew who was the only Doctor Who I'd seen, so I just had always thought Gallifrey was gone. Like, so this must have been a shock to like Doctor Who fans.
The 4th Doctor literally like kicks Sarah Jane out of the TARDIS because he's like, I have to go to Gallifrey.
Yeah.
And he's like, you can't come. Like, that's literally why Sarah Jane leaves.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah.
That's great. Like, was it kind of a shock to you? Because you had watched a bit of classic Who before coming into this, or were you not like fazed by it?
I mean, like, I'd only seen a couple of episodes of, like, McCoy and Pertwee, and in none of those do they go to Gallifrey or talk about the Time Lords. So, like, it's, like, to me, I was like, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, and then, like, looking into it all post having watched, you know, Tennant and, like, Smith and whatever, and I was like, oh, I get it now, like, the progression. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But, Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really faze me. I'm sure it was a shock to like longtime fans though. Like I'm sure it would have been.
Yeah. But yeah, I just want to say End of the World, it's a weird episode, but it has its place. And I think it builds up the Doctor in this, like you said, this mysterious way.
Yeah.
And it kind of strengthens like the relationship between the Rose and the Doctor.
Yeah,
like
especially that final scene.
That final scene. But you know that scene where like they're getting angry at each other? And she's like, just tell me where you're from. And he's like, this is me. That's all that counts right now or something. You're like, this guy's been through a shit time.
And when he's like, when she's like, why can I understand them? Why they'll speak? And he's like, the TARDIS gets inside your head. And she's like, you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
And he's like, I didn't think to. Like, and she's like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like, she has that real moment of being like, fuck, what have I done?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because she's a real person.
Yeah. Dude, the more I think about it, I'm like, nah, this is a good episode. Yeah, it's a honestly, good second episode of the season.
It is good.
It just sets up everything so well and like just establishes their relationship.
Okay, really well, I take that back then, but the Unquiet Dead I don't have too much to say about.
Fair. That's fair. I enjoy it.
I really enjoy it mostly for Charles Dickens as a character. Yeah. He's fantastic.
He's so good.
And like
Charlie Boy.
And like, you know, jumping ahead, obviously, that final moment with him when he's like, you know, Doctor, like my books, do they last? Yeah. And Doctor's like, yes, forever.
Yeah.
And it's and you know, and then he's like, why are you both going into that box? And when it dematerializes. Yeah. Yeah, and he's like walking away laughing. But like to me that was like the Van Gogh moment from season 5, but like, you know, with a nice outcome rather than a fucking soul-destroying outcome.
Yeah, and just so fucking upsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I enjoy the episode. Like, it's not the best in the season, but I think it's still pretty solid.
The first time that they say Bad Wolf.
Is it?
Yep. When the maid is like, you know, because she's psychic and she's reading Rose's mind.
Oh yeah, the big bad wolf.
And she's like, so coming from the future. Yeah. You can't, the big bad wolf. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first time we hear Bad Wolf in the series.
Okay. Some reason I thought they said Bad Wolf at some point in End of the World, but maybe not.
No.
Yeah.
I believe that's the first time it's said.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like it's a fun like horror sci-fi episode, the bodies being, and a very interesting moral debate with the Doctor being like, why can't they just take the dead person's body?
Yeah, exactly.
And like Rose being like, because you can't do that. And he's like, what do you mean?
What do you mean? Like, it's a different morality. Get used to it or go home.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That's what he said. He's so dark in this episode, but
he gets just jumping back real quick to the End of the World.
Yeah,
when he teleports Cassandra back and Rose, and she's like, you know, I'm starting to like stretch out, not stretch out, but like what's the word I'm looking for? Like when her skin's like tightening, she's about to burst, and Rose is like, help her, and he's like, everything has its time, Rose. Everything dies.
Yeah,
and Rose says that in the finale. Anyway, jumping ahead, but
man, we've got so much to say.
Yeah, shit.
The more that we talk about it,
but like that moment of him just like standing there deadpan, watching her explode. And then walking away and being like, right, okay, shit to do. Yeah. I'm like, fuck, like, dude.
This guy's been through the fucking works.
And and this episode as well, like, sort of builds on that with, him talking about, like, you know, if you don't like it, like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It also brings up, like, the point of, like, because Rose is like, how can I die here? I'm not meant to die here.
Yeah.
He's like, time can change. You can be born in 21st century, but die in the 18th, or whatever he says. And it kind of starts setting up, like, this time as it's fluid sort of thing. It's not a linear progression.
That moment, when he's like, you know, I'm really glad I met you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, fuck, man.
Dude.
And and again, like, when they leave and, like, Rose is like, you know, we have to help her. And I was like, go. And he checks her pulse and he's like, you know, she was dead the minute she stepped in that arch. Like, it's
definitely one of the more emotional episodes.
Yeah, and like
at least the first.
You've got a lot of emotional beats, like especially like, you know, coming off the very end moment of the previous episode, heading into this, and then like it's got like an emotional ending that then is, you know, it's really nice with like, you know, Charles Dickens laughing, but then, you know, they realize that, you know, the Doctor's like, you know, he this is the year he dies. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, cool.
He like dies a week later or something. Yeah.
But it's a very nice episode.
Yeah, it is. I enjoy it. I get a kick out of it.
I don't know if it's my least favorite of the season. I think
it's definitely not mine. I have a least favorite. It's not this one.
Is it the next one?
No.
Okay.
Is yours?
No.
Okay.
Aliens of London and World War III. Yeah. That little package. Man, I was like actually dreading watching them. Because I was like, oh, these fucking stink, dude. And not just because they're farting all the time, but these episodes stink. And then I watched them both and I was like, actually, they go real hard.
No, they're good.
Like, those episodes are so good.
They're good.
I was really dreading watching them, to be honest.
Why did you think they sucked? Did you just not enjoy them in the past?
I don't think I enjoyed them the first time I watched them, and I think every watch through I've tried to do since then, I've stopped after the first 3 episodes. That's purely fair. To avoid the...
No, that's funny. It's funny.
But like, as an adult, as a cultured man now, I'm like, oh, this is fucking hilarious. Like, it's just fucking hysterical, dude. They're shitting themselves in Parliament. Like, it's so
I had
funny.
the subtitles on when they're farting, and it just goes... and it's just the best.
Yeah, the one thing I will say about this pair of episodes is that, man, are they paced so fucking well. Like, it's 2 episodes, but like, so it feels like the same content you get out of fucking 5 episodes of like modern Doctor Who, like current Doctor Who. Like, so much happens in these 2 episodes. And like, I just, like, holy crap, dude. Yeah. Like, they're insane. Holy crap, Lois. But, yeah, I was dreading it because they were goofy. Yeah. But then I found myself really enjoying them.
And they're still goofy.
Like,
I watched it last week, and like the Slovene, like their costumes just look a little goofy. Like the dialogue is not matching up with their mouths. You're like, man. It's still like creepy the moment they get the zipper and they undo their head.
That is creepy. Shit. Do you remember the name of the planet they're from?
Raxacoricofallapatorius.
Yes, good.
Dude.
Good work.
Thanks, man.
So I was looking up because I forgot that the family name was Slovene. And that they are actually, their species is Raxacoricofallapatorian. And I was like, oh, fuck, all right.
Yeah.
Learn something new.
They're like Slovene as our surname.
Yeah, and I was like, that's right. This is wacky as hell.
Yeah. They're great.
I love every time you see the skin suits just like floating around. That's so funny.
There's this moment in the second episode of that 2-parter how she's they're all getting changed.
Yeah. And they're like, quick.
No, not that moment. Like they're all coming into the Parliament House and they're getting changed, and Margaret has like the coat hangers putting them up. Suits.
I was thinking of when like the missile's coming and they're all like quick and they're trying to put on those skin suits again. Both of those moments are fucking hysterical.
Okay, now these 2 episodes are great. They're so goofy, but it's good stuff.
And Harriet Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Great character introduction.
Yeah, I remember...
she's a great character.
She's so good. And then I saw her in Shaun of the Dead, and I'm like, wait, she's from Doctor Who.
Yeah, because she's Shaun's mum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, all I'm thinking, though, is... Don't you think she looks tired? Like,
good stuff.
She's a great character, though.
Yeah.
And, like, the way she just takes charge in these episodes, and, like, especially, and this leads into one particular moment I really want to talk about, when the Doctor, Rose, and Harriet are in, like, the sealed inside, and they're on the phone to Jackie.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, Mickey's prepping the missiles and stuff. And, you know, and Harriet's just, like, fully taken over. Yeah. And also, every time she introduces herself, Harriet Jones, Flydale MP. Like, MP for Flydale North. Yeah.
Yes,
I fucking love that. But then, like, when they're prepping everything and Jackie's like, you know, like, Doctor, like, will you keep Rose safe?
Yeah.
And he's just silent. And, like, it's...
Yeah. And then he's like, I can't guarantee she'll be safe. And they're kind of, like, umming and ahhing. Yeah. She's like, nope. Harry Jones is like, nope, you're going to do it. Yeah. I order you. And they're like,
order you, yeah.
Okay, we'll do it.
As the only elected official in this room, I order you, yeah.
Yeah, literally.
But, like, and then... that moment, though, when the Doctor's, like, thinking about it, and then Jackie asks again, and he's like, I can't guarantee it. And I'm like, ooh, like...
It's just, like, a perfect set of episodes to kind of illustrate that Rose is in danger when she's with the Doctor. And she's not always going to be safe. Ends up going up with him anyway.
Oh, and then, obviously how that then links to the finale.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking hell, dude. It's great.
Every episode, sorry, just a sidetrack, every episode kind of links to each other in some sort of way, or even is built up to the finale. Yeah. It's so good.
None more so than the next episode.
Ooh. Okay, we're done with these 2?
I don't really have anything more to say. I was dreading watching them, but I found myself enjoying them so fucking much.
They're really good.
They're solid, and the pacing is immaculate.
Yeah,
the pacing is perfect.
And the connection between this and Boomtown, so good.
Well, I'll talk about that when we get to Boomtown. Yeah. But let's fucking go Dalek.
All right, let's do it.
Perfect episode.
Yeah. This is the...
Cool, okay, so the long game.
Perfect episode.
No, but for real, perfect episode.
It's the best Dalek episode.
It's the best Doctor Who episode.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
I stand by it.
Okay.
People cite Blink. I'm like, no, the Doctor's not in Blink. Blink is not a Doctor Who episode.
I think Blink is the best, like, villain episode.
Yeah, no,
Does that make sense?
No, I still think Dalek. I think like I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on Blink by any means. I think it is immaculate. I think that episode is a masterclass in tension and character writing. But I would never show it to people as an introduction to Doctor Who because the Doctor's not in it. And that to me defeats the purpose of it being like a classic Doctor Who episode.
It's just, you don't have the Doctor or the companion.
Exactly.
The two, main characters of the show.
They pop up right at the end, but it's a Doctor Light episode for all intents and purposes. But Dalek, it does the same thing. It introduces a villain that is terrifying and menacing, but you get to see the Doctor and his companion overcome it. Like, it's my God, dude. It's so good. I have so much to say, but also, like, so little to say that isn't just gushing. You know?
Gush away, my friend.
I literally just wrote perfect episode, the pacing,
That's the other thing you wrote.
The rage. We see the destructive power of one single Dalek, and again, how that then links to the finale, and like the terror in the Doctor's eyes when he walks in and you hear the Doctor.
As soon as you hear the Doctor and the lights go up, and he's just like, impossible.
But then he's like, let me out, and then he realizes and he goes, fantastic, fantastic. And his face just drops, and you're like, oh fuck.
Well, because he's like smiling and he's all happy,
and then he goes, fantastic, and his face drops. And he's just like tormenting it, and it's
what are you good for, Dalek?
It's fucking insane.
What's the point of you?
And and like, just holy crap, when he's then and obviously later in the episode when he's yelling at it, and he's like, and then the dog, and he's like, what are my orders? Here's some orders. Kill yourself. Every time it gets me, kill yourself.
And he's just like so stone faced as he's doing. He's like, kill yourself.
Like, not in the same way we say it to each other. Like, he meant it. You know, like he really meant it. But then the why don't you just die? And then you just hear the rain, and then you would make a good Dalek.
And his face is just
man,
so good.
It is just, and again, that links to a really cool moment in the finale. But I forgot how well integrated this season was, man. I miss Doctor Who.
It's so good.
I miss Doctor Who so much.
I'm excited for when it comes back in like a couple of weeks when this is released.
Well,
it should be around.
By the time this episode comes out, it should be back on the air.
It should be.
Not to date when we're recording this, but today they started filming Shooty's second season.
I saw. Isn't that insane?
Haven't even seen Tennant's return yet. And we're fucking filming Shooty's second season already.
They're on the grind.
Yeah, man. Same as us.
They're
just prepping a backlog. But like, we're just like Doctor Who.
Yeah, exactly. We're the exact same.
Fantastic.
I do want to talk about that scene just like a little bit more, just like
you would make a good Dalek.
No, the other one when he sees the Dalek for the first time, and they both realize like they're the last two left, or the last of each species.
You almost feel sorry for the Dalek.
We feel sorry for both because
I
forgot what he's like. The Dalek's like, I'm all alone in the universe. The Doctor's like, yep. And the Dalek's like, so are you. And you're like,
it's the we're not so different, you and I. Like, it's that.
It literally is.
But they don't say it, and they don't need to. Because the rest of the writing conveys that so clearly. Oh, it's fucking genius, dude.
And then the Doctor's like, we're not the same. We're not. And he's like, wait, I know what to do. I know what you deserve. And then he goes, exterminate. Boom. Oh, it's just the absolute joy on his face when he says it. Like, he thinks he's just about to kill the last. It's a perfect scene. It's a perfect, like, reunion of sorts between the Doctor and like a classic villain.
And this is why I would cite this as the best Doctor Who episode, because it involves, the return of a classic villain, but it's also in the sense of like it's introducing them to a new audience. You see one single Dalek, you see what it's capable of, takes out a whole base of people.
We see how smart it is because it's like cracking codes, it's getting into the computer, it's downloaded the whole internet.
It shoots the sprinklers and then electrocutes everyone in the water.
No, and he turns on the cameras. He's like, the Doctor's like, it's making us watch or something like that. He wants us to see.
It's
and you're like,
fucking brilliant. And then and that final moment when like, when it encounters Rose and it's like, why can't I kill you? Like, it's
It's so good.
Dude,
and there's that one
scene,
amazing. I think when Rose and Adam are running away from it and it gets to the stairs.
Yeah.
Adam's like defeated by a flight of stairs and then
elevate.
it starts elevate. And I think I remember Dad like freaking out from that point because he hadn't really seen them do that in classic Who.
They only did that in Remembrance of the Daleks.
Yeah.
Where like, Sylvester McCoy runs upstairs and he's like, stairs, brilliant.
Yeah.
And then the Daleks at the bottom, he's like, ha 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 ha. and then it like starts hovering up. That's like the cliffhanger of like the first or second episode of that. And he's like, and then it like, and then, like the music comes in. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so good and just shows, like you said, it just shows how destructive one Dalek can be. Yeah. So when they all come back in the finale, you're like, oh fuck.
Like we understand the severity of this.
Yeah.
Because it was told to us through brilliant storytelling 6 episodes earlier.
Exactly.
Like, oh, dude, it's.
And like not to jump ahead to like the finale, but you see all the Daleks on the ship and they're all like floating around, and there's that one scene where they're all leaving the ship and invading Earth, and you're like,
holy crap.
Fuck.
Like, this is not going to go well.
Yeah, this is not going to end well.
Yeah, do you have anything more to say on Dalek? Because all I'm going to do is keep gushing, but like, it's seriously insane.
I think it's perfect from start to end.
It's my favorite episode to watch. I'll never get sick of watching it.
Yeah, and like Henry Van Staden, the guy who plays him.
Yeah.
Perfect.
He's great. And introduction of Adam, who I have more to say about when we talk about the long game.
Fucking Adam.
Yeah.
And then just the emotional parts at the end where the Dalek is like starting to feel things.
Yeah, and Rose is like, look at it. It just wants the sun.
And then she's like, what the hell are you turning it into?
Yeah.
And you just see, it's just like the perfect moment to show just how fucked up he is from the Time War.
And then right at the end, and he's like, I'm the last one. I
win.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Brilliant.
And she's like, there could be more. And he's like, no, I don't, I know. Here. And you're just like, oh man, wait till season 3, buddy.
Shit, dude.
No, I agree with you. It's a perfect episode.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, and it just like elevates all of season 1.
Elevates!
Dude, good one. I think without that episode, a lot of season 1 would kind of be taken away a little bit, or just wouldn't have the same effect, especially the finale.
Yeah. Especially for just like, how you see the Doctor's character develop in this episode.
Well, it's just like
so impressive.
The comparisons to him as like a Dalek. He's basically almost like a Dalek in this episode. You're like, oh damn, that's not the Doctor I remember from classic Who.
Yeah. It's
anyway,
fucking awesome.
We could talk more about it, but
we could do a whole episode just about Dalek, to be honest.
Yeah.
But perfect episode. If you've never watched Doctor Who, I mean, look, you're only 6 episodes in. Just start from the beginning of Eccleston.
Yeah.
But if you're just gonna watch one episode, watch Dalek.
It's going to be on Disney Plus, so
it'll hook you in so fucking hard.
It's so good.
Yeah. But then the next episode, the long game.
Yeah.
You know
what?
Simon Pegg episode. That's all I remember about it.
I love the episode just for him.
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I wish he had a bigger part in Doctor Who,
Yeah.
But like, I like his character in this episode.
I do. I still think the long game is a good episode. I think it's the weakest in the entire season.
I agree. Like, I do think that it does drag a little bit.
It doesn't feel like there's an actual threat.
No, and like the Jagrafess is just there on the roof, just looking chilling. Real trash.
Well, he's not chilling. He's chilling.
Literally chilling.
He is, yeah.
Literally chilling.
Been chilling.
Big chilling. I didn't remember this one at all when I watched it. I just remembered Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything else about it. The Adam side story was so fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, I just, I don't know.
I think it does a good job in showing that not just anyone can be the Doctor's companion.
That is so true, though. Yeah, that's exactly why it's there.
Because he's doing all this stuff out of purely selfish. Well, I guess selfish
and, like,
gain.
Calling himself in the past to be like, hey, like, remember this, or like, here's this information for the future. He's doing a biff.
Yeah.
He's doing a biff.
He is doing a biff.
Yeah.
The history of the microprocessor.
Exactly.
But I think it's funny when he gets a thing in his face, like in his head, and at the end, and they're like snapping,
and he's like, "Don't do that." And he's like, "What? Don't do this?"
Yeah,
and the Doctor just fucking owns him. At the end, it's so funny.
Just like the pure like anger in his face when he sees Adam after everything that's happened. You're like, "Oh no."
Yeah, he's about to drags him into the TARDIS,
like pushes him out.
Yeah,
and he's like, "I only take the best. I've got Rose," and you're like, nice,
good.
And then you're watching the next episode, and you're like, ooh.
Yeah, the side story with Adam is interesting, and like obviously it's important because like you said, it shows that not anyone can join the Team TARDIS. The fam.
Please don't.
Not anyone can join the fam. So like, I really like that element of it, but also like those sections take away from the pacing for me.
Yeah.
Like I had to look up her name actually, Kathika, the journalist who they're talking to for the whole episode. Like she was the thing I was most interested. She was the character I was most interested in the episode. Like the thing overall. Like her, like defiance to be like, no, everything is how it should be. This is the way it operates. But then for her to like slowly come around to what the doctor is saying until right at the end, she, she's willing to sacrifice herself to like save him and to stop this machine that she's working as a part of. Like, it's really powerful. It's really cool.
I think I saw like in a review for this episode, it's like the doctor and the Rose don't save the day. It's down to Kathika.
Yeah, which I really like.
I like. They say they don't love it, but I don't know. I like the fact that it's not always the doctor saving the day. It's always just like a regular human, or it just shows that anyone can be good.
All the while paralleling that with Adam, which is
like a total
fascinating.
Yeah. Actually, I like that. I like that comparison.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I respect for this episode as well is the link to the finale.
Yes,
because
of course.
It's the same setting.
The satellite, yeah.
And then we'll get to the finale, but like Chris is like, I did this, I made this happen.
Yeah.
From the events of this episode. Yeah. It's just like the continuity of it is great.
Brilliant.
Like even if the episode in the season isn't strong, it has a place. Yes, in some sort of way.
It all feeds into the larger narrative.
Yeah, like Love and Monsters doesn't.
I'm not keen to watch season 2.
I'm excited for you to watch it. I want to talk about that. That's going to be fun.
Season 2, man. Moaning Myrtle giving people blowjobs on a piece of concrete.
True.
Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Father's Day.
The most underrated Doctor Who episode ever. Watching it again, I don't know. I didn't love it as much as I remember loving it.
Yeah.
But like, fuck if I still didn't cry though, man. Like, fuck if it still didn't hit all the right beats for me.
Yeah.
And like, just... Yeah, and again, like you were saying, like, not anyone can travel in the TARDIS, and you're like, but Rose in the next episode.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to me that the Doctor even lets them go back to that time. But then,
I would have thought, right?
Yeah, but then his reaction when she jumps in and he's like, what the fuck have you done?
Yeah.
Like, it's very measured, but you can tell he's just fucking irate.
Yeah, and he's like, I picked another stupid ape.
Yeah, stupid ape.
Yeah.
I can't remember what episode she says it, but he says that at one point, and she's like, oh, don't mind him. He insults species when he's angry. Like, she says that to someone in one episode. I can't remember.
I don't...
Maybe to Jack. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, this episode is touching and is again like a beautiful character study about Rose, and then showing her relationship to the Doctor and like why she's there and what she wants from it all. It's fantastic.
And he's getting pissed at her because he's starting to think that she's just another selfish human who wants to time travel just for her own sake.
But then that moment right at the end where her dad is like, that I have to do this, and he goes out and jumps in front of the car, and I'm like, oh my god, dude.
And the fact that you realize that the Doctor knew that this was the answer the entire time. But he was trying to think of something else, so she didn't have to lose her dad again. I really love the concept of the villain, though. I love it. The Time Reaper.
Yeah.
Because they're not like... Yeah. They're not villains in a sense.
They're just doing what they were designed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Like patch a hole in time.
Come to sterilize the wound.
Exactly, yeah.
But I really like the idea of it. It's just, they were so cool. They don't look goofy in any way. They look genuinely terrifying. And then when you're looking inside the church and they're like...
Outside, just
like scraping across the glass in the window. I don't know. There's just like a very big sense of dread in this episode. You just feel like there's nothing that could happen.
Also,
so good.
Holy shit! Like you hear like a theme playing and it goes.
Oh yeah, every time
and like drops, and I'm like, like I feel my stomach drop every time it does.
But now I just realized that usually happens when the car's driving around the outside.
The one time I remember it happening vividly is when they're looking out the window. Yeah. And what's her dad's name? Pete was like, what are you looking at? The dog's like, nothing. And he leaves. Yeah. And then he looks out and sees the car, and you hear like the nice thing that goes.
Yeah.
And it like drops.
Such a good use of music to show, or at least foreshadow that's going to be the solution.
It's a very, very beautiful and underrated episode, but I also don't really have anything more to say about it.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's fantastic. Like, I think it's really solid.
Yeah. Well, I think like all the moments between Rose and her dad, and even like Rose and Jackie, especially like near the end when she realized that it's her daughter.
Yeah.
And then that links back to
something that happens in the finale. Yeah,
she's like, she remembers seeing Rose back then, but like doesn't want to accept it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Great. We just need to get to the finale.
It's all building up to the finale.
2 of the best episodes of the whole show as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Empty Child and Dr. Dances.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're so good. I'm just trying to think if I have anything else to say about Father's Day. There's one moment I like near the end where he forgives Rose.
Yeah,
and it's just like, some reason it like reminds me of when Capaldi forgives Clara for like almost throwing like all the TARDIS keys away.
Yeah.
Like he still has faith in his companions, no matter how much they fuck up. You're like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I do like that a lot.
It's nice. It's a nice touching moment.
Did you ever fucking say Clara's name again though?
Oh, sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I won't say it. I won't say it ever again. It's just a moment in the episode where they both know that they're fucked.
Yeah.
But they're still just like happy, and you're like,
they're still there. Yeah, exactly.
It's the first time he takes off his jacket too.
So true.
Weird. Yeah.
So
it's the first time you see the TARDIS, but like just the TARDIS. You know how like when he goes to walk in, it's just the door and it's just the box. You're like, that was funny.
They were like, we're sick of fucking animating this all the time. Like,
just put the box.
They take the TARDIS.
And it's just that one moment when like, because you know how Billy's like, oh, you'll come back running or something, and then he is coming back running. And she's all smug, and then the Reaper starts coming in.
Get the fuck inside.
It's so good. It's great. I really like that episode. I think it's really underrated.
Criminally underrated.
Anyway, next 2. Empty Child and the Dr. Dances.
Not underrated by any means. No. But they earn the hype.
These 2 are my favorite Doctor Who episodes of all time.
Wow.
They are so good. And they're just so perfectly paced, but I think it's just the moment where the Doctor's like, everyone lives. It's the one of the very few times where no one dies.
Those final moments, like the infectious joy coming out of Christoper Eccleston, when he's like, everybody lives, and he's like, more days like this, and he's dancing with Rose in the TARDIS, and like, oh man.
And Captain Jack comes in, he's like, oh, who does he want to dance with?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Fucking also, these episodes gave us Captain Jack as a character.
I love Captain Jack.
Oh my god.
So good.
Yeah, and like, and a genuinely creepy but also very sympathetic villain. I say villain, but
it's
like...
Not really.
It's not a villain. No, they're not villains. They're just... Yeah, and that final moment when the Doctor's like, how old are you?
Yeah.
And like, it's revealed that, Jamie's like her kid, and like, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. But you just don't see it coming. Like, I guess you sort of can, but you don't really expect it still.
But like, when they say it, you're like, this makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't just come out of left field.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I get it.
Yeah, it's
Was this this wasn't a Stephen Moffat episode?
This was Moffat's first contribution.
Oh, it was too.
Yeah,
his best contribution.
His first contribution to New Who.
Yeah, not
his first ever contribution.
Yeah,
as we've discussed.
We have discussed.
But then
Curse of Fatal Death.
But then this is we'll talk about season 2's contribution.
Yeah,
when we get to it. But then 3 giving Blink and 4 giving Silence in the Library, Forest of the Dead.
Yeah,
but his season 2 episode was not good.
Which one did he do? Is it the
Girl in the Fireplace with the clockwork androids?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Moffat's contribution to season 2, Girl in the Fireplace.
I thought you were going to say the Idiot's Lantern.
No,
that's someone else.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But Empty Child Dr. Dances giving us Captain Jack. Yeah. First of all, fantastic character. Yeah. John Barrowman is incredible.
He is incredible.
Then spinning out into Torchwood as well, like because of Captain Jack. Like they don't actually say the word Torchwood until Bad Wolf.
Do they say Torchwood in Bad Wolf?
They do during the Weakest Link game. One of the answers is Torchwood.
They do.
Well, they say something about the Torchwood Institute. Like the android says it.
That's right. Android.
I was like, whoa, they said Torchwood.
Yeah.
Like
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, man. There's the layering that RTD put through these seasons. Fuck, man. But like,
silly. It's actually silly.
It's seriously insane how good these 2 episodes are.
Yeah, they are.
And like the way that they characterize the children in it.
Yeah.
And when they're going around giving food at the table, like, thank you, and the doctor's like, thank you, and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there, and he's like, what's going on, my fellow kids? Yeah. Like, it's
how do you do, my fellow
kids?
kids?
It's so funny.
It just shows the drawing of the spaceship. It's just like scribbles and stuff. Yeah. I just like the way that Captain Jack is set up in this one, because he's meant to be like a better, more handsome version of the Doctor, at least when Rose first sees her.
When they fucking land and he's like, how do I find it? And Rose is like, scan for alien tech or whatever. And then he's like, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. And then when she meets Jack and she's like, how did you know? And he's like, I scanned for alien tech. And she's like, finally a professional.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
But then, the twist of him like being like, I'm a con artist, like, fuck me, right?
I'm
like
a con man.
I'm a con man.
Yeah.
I really like how he's characterized here and the arc that he goes on in this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
And then obviously, again, how that links to his role in the finale.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it just has so much personality, but you still care for him, especially near the end when he's in his ship and he's like because he takes the Chula warship or whatever it is, and he's going to go and blow it up and sacrifice himself.
Yeah.
And he's like pouring that glass.
Oh, and he's got the martini. And then you hear the music and he walks onto the TARDIS and he's like, well, shut the doors. Yeah. Is it going to get a draft? Like,
yeah, you'll let a draft in.
It's like, it's brilliant. Like, yeah, and because the Doctor knows. As soon as he flies away, Rose is like, we'll see him again. The Doctor's like, no, you won't. No, you won't.
Nah.
You certainly won't.
Yeah.
But like, just, God, I feel like I want to spend more time talking about these. But again, I don't know what else to say other than just how fucking good they are.
They're just so good. It's such a good, episode set in World War II. Like, you really feel...
Yeah.
Like, the severity of the situation.
Oh my God, and the conversation that Rose is having with I forgot the girl's name. The main girl.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I should have written it down.
Yeah.
But the conversation that they're having, and Rose is like, this isn't... She's like, I was born in the 20th century.
Yeah,
like, in the 21st century. She's like, you win.
Yeah.
And she's like, and it's like, that moment is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Because you really feel like that girl's like terror. She's like, how can we not do that? How can we do this? She's like, you're not German. What do you mean? And Rose is like, no, you win.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God,
it's just so good.
So moving.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of anything else to say. I don't know. It's just such a beautifully written two-parter story.
Again, paced brilliantly.
Yeah.
Just like the previous two-parter. Like, just so much packed in, but it never feels like too much. It never drags. It just exists and it's perfect.
Yeah. I just like the metaphor of the Doctor dancing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at the start of the second episode, like Rose is saying like, can you dance or something?
Yeah.
And they're like, you can't really dance with her at the start, but now at the end...
He's like, I can dance.
Yeah.
Like, and then again, like the way that they then try and parallel that to... A Good Man Goes to War, like with Matt Smith's Doctor, and like it's I don't know, I just we'll
talk about that later.
Such a missed
we're on a positive high at the moment. Let's not.
And then heading into Boomtown, which is an episode I just forgot existed. I forgot that the Slovene came back.
Yeah,
like holy shit.
Yeah,
I completely forgot when I turned it on, and I was like, "What's that bitch?
Yeah,
that's Slovene. She's back, Margaret."
Yeah. Yeah. And this was the first episode I saw because I had no context of who the Slovene were.
But like, again, the way that they characterize Margaret when she's like about to rip that journalist to shreds. She's getting changed in the toilet. And she's like, be out in a sec. And then she mentions something about her fiance.
Yeah.
And then, that she's pregnant. And you see, the goofy fucking Slovene costume. And like, you genuinely feel sorry for her.
You do.
Because you realize that she's alone and she has... It's Dalek, but done in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
Like, you realize that she is alone.
Yeah.
And, like, she's like, you know what, I actually can't do this.
Yeah.
But, then the Doctor steps in.
Yeah. And then they have that dinner date. And just because you saved one person doesn't mean you're not a killer still.
Yeah. And she's like... It's like you said, like, like...
Yeah, only a killer would know that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, the moral debate that they have at the table, but also the comedy of it when they sit down and she's like cracks her ring into the drink and he turns back around and swaps the drinks and smiles, and then she's like, a poison dart from their finger, and she does it and he catches it. He's like, that's nice, flicks it away. Yeah.
She's like, I can exhale poison from the lungs, and he just has a spray.
Just ready for anything.
It's so good.
It's so funny. Yeah. And Chris Eccleston plays it so straight.
Yeah.
Just with like a goofy grin on his face. But like then their moral like debate at the dinner table of like, like if you send me home, they're going to kill me. And he's like, but you have killed people.
Yeah.
She's like, but I want to change. And he's like, but you're not going to.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating.
And she's like, you're sending me to my death. You're killer now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
It's just like this just the perfect way of showing like how the Doctor has to like kind of face the repercussions of his actions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just meeting someone from when they killed the Sabine, it's just so good.
It's fantastic the way that they talk at the table. Thanks, man.
Hey.
I think I'm not gonna put a counter on screen for every time I say fantastic.
No, you'll drive yourself insane.
I'm gonna have to go back now. Yeah. Anyway, but it's
it's time travel back. No.
Ooh. But it's seriously, it really makes me miss that from Doctor Who, you know, that moral debate, that serious, like, having conversations about prickly topics.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't exist anymore. I don't know how much of Chibnall Era you watched, but like
a massive amount.
There's an episode where Graham, Bradley Walsh's character, goes up to the Doctor. I think it's in season 12.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, Doc, like, you know, he had cancer previously. Yeah. And he's talking about how, like, you know, he's worried about the cancer coming back. And he's like, I'm, you know, it's eating me up a bit. And he's like, I just don't know what to do. And the Doctor's like, I should say something here, shouldn't I? And then just like goes like, I'm just going to walk over there and pretend this didn't happen. Like, actually? She says that.
Really?
She says that. And just walks away from this man who just
like, opened up to her about cancer.
Yeah. And like, you know, that clip is used a lot to like demonstrate the writing quality of the Chibnall Era. Yeah. Because it's like, you compare that, like, they can't even have a conversation about cancer. Yeah. Which is something that, you know, that's a reality for so many people. And like, this episode is like, you know, the debate of like, you know, does a murderer deserve to die? Or like, you know, if you kill a murderer, does that make you a killer? Like, it's so heavy and deep, and you're like, who do I side with here?
And actually shows the Doctor like engaging with this debate and having to question his own morality a bit, whereas like he said, like the 13th Doctor's just like, nah, I'm outie.
I'm socially awkward. That puts me off the hook for dealing with things. But like during the episode, like I really was like, shit, I kind of get where Margaret's coming from. Yeah. And I'm like, is the Doctor wrong? Yeah. Is the Doctor wrong about this? And even Rose is like, what do we do? Yeah. Like, it's fascinating.
It's really good.
And then all the while you've got Rose and Mickey's subplot going on. Yeah. Where Mickey is just losing it. And he's like, you know, you abandoned me. He's like, I'm waiting. Again, just trying to emulate Rory later down the line. But like Mickey's like, you know, I waited for you. Like, I will keep waiting for you. Yeah. He's like, I can't do it. Yeah. And then as soon as something goes wrong with the TARDIS, Rose just bolts and leaves Mickey.
It's always the Doctor and never me.
Yeah. Oh, that poor man. Bruh.
And you just see him near the end. He's just standing as Rose like talking to the police. Yeah. And he's got that long coat on.
I wrote this down. Yeah. Mickey standing up for himself is amazing. Rose is treating him badly. And that final scene where we see him standing in the shadows, it almost made me wish he came back as a villain.
Imagine.
Like, it actively made me, like, that would be a perfect way to build it up. You just watch this character getting whittled down and down because of the Doctor. And then, like, imagine if he came back later on as a villain.
Yeah. I think I still like the arc that he goes through, like, in this season and season 2.
Big time. I love Mickey as a character. Yeah. But it's really interesting to see how he's treated and how he then reacts to that. Because he's a real person with real emotions.
Russell just knew how to write characters so well. And that like kind of goes to my point, like something I wanted to talk about is just like the chemistry between Jack, Rose, the Doctor, and together. Even Mickey, like in the first like opening 10-20 minutes, just so good. Like when they're hanging outside the TARDIS, when they go and have that lunch, it's just so. And when they go to it's like the Parliament House or whatever, and they're like going through all the different entrances to try and find Margaret.
And Jack walks in, he's like, right, we'll do this. He's like, you go here, you cover this exit, you do that. And Doc's like, hey, I'm in charge. And he's like, sorry, Doc, what's the plan? And he's like you said,
nice plan. Yeah,
it's a good plan.
So good.
The chemistry between them is just unbelievable.
Perfect. I wish it lasted longer, and that's why I was just like so upset in the finale when they all just sort of leave. Or Jack's left behind, and we'll get to that in a sec. But I don't know. I just really like that aspect of the episode. Yeah. And then when the Doctor's reading the newspaper, and he's like, "No, I was having such a good day," and then so good.
Yeah, coming off the high of the Doctor dances. Yeah. Like, oh
man. He was having a happy couple episodes, and then
more days like this.
Yeah.
So God good. Damn, dude.
It's so good. It's just like the perfect win that he needed. Yeah. After the Time War. He's just like, so good. Anyway.
But oh my god. Bad Wolf.
Bad Wolf.
And the parting of the ways.
We're up to the finale. And the finale of this episode.
Bad Wolf.
Bad Wolf. Let's dive into the meat of this episode.
Well, we've been alluding to it the whole time.
We have.
I didn't even write that much, but I did write some.
Okay, I have so much to talk about. I didn't write that much.
I didn't write that much, just half a page of notes just about this episode, about this 2-part finale. Let's start from the top, the game shows.
Ooh.
The game shows are so fun.
They're so much fun.
Like The Weakest Link and Big Brother and whatever Jack was doing.
Oh, it was,
No, I actually looked into this today because I was curious.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the show Jack was doing actually exists.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a comparison for it.
Oh, okay. Still hilarious, though.
It's great, though. Oh, my fucking God. Sorry, ladies. Pulls out the gun. That's a compact blaster. Where were you hiding that? You don't want to know.
Just shoots them both.
Fucking
it's a
brilliant.
handsome fella.
Yeah.
That scene, dude.
Phantom hella.
That's a lot of unexpected nudity, you know?
Well, so again, I was reading fun facts about this episode today. They actually shot a scene, like when he gets his clothes evaporated from behind, you see his butt, you see his naked butt crack. But then the BBC at the last minute went, no. And they cropped it so that you couldn't see it. Yeah, I was like, damn. But yeah, it's that is so much fun.
Yeah.
Rose being on The Weakest Link and being like, what the fuck's going on? Like, this is so funny. And then the first contestant gets evaporated and she's like, oh. But then that fear as well of like, the doctor will save me. The doctor will get me out of this.
Yeah. It's on the one time that he doesn't.
Oh, fuck, dude. Yeah. And then, like the doctor being on Big Brother.
Yeah.
That's hysterical.
Well, he has that same reaction of like, this isn't real. This isn't a real thing.
Yeah.
But then he's like, oh, shit.
Oh, and he brings Linda with a Y with him. I love Linda. I wrote about Linda.
Yeah, she's such a sweet character.
The chemistry that they had, and she's like, I want to come with, like, I hope I'm not getting in the way. Yeah. He's like, you're perfect, Linda. Like, and the Daleks fucking mutilate her.
Well, it's just like you think they're gonna burst. We're cutting to the next episode. Yeah, but you think they're gonna get through the door.
Yeah,
and then they come up from the outside and shoot through the glass, and you're like,
I hate it. No. I'm never forgiving Russell T Davies for that.
He kills the best characters.
Yeah, well,
the ones that hurt. Baby.
Interestingly, that is actually like kind of ripped from the classic series a bit.
Yeah,
in the Daleks Master Plan, which is a first Doctor serial that is 12 parts long, and only 3 of them exist.
Yeah.
You meet a companion in the first episode, and she's like, I can't wait to travel with you, Doctor. Yeah. And then she gets fucking killed like 3 episodes later. Like, first companion death, and then another companion death in like the finale of that serial. Damn. The first 2 companion deaths in the series happened in the same serial.
Damn.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
And one of those companions was a long-standing one, and one of them like had been in the show previously, but one of them was introduced in that serial and died in that serial as well. So rip Linda.
She was so good.
She was great. But then the game shows were great. Oh, dude, the build up to like the reveal at the end of Bad Wolf that it's the Daleks. Like, I actually
so good.
So I remembered. Obviously, that the Daleks were in the finale because of the coward killer bit.
Yeah.
I remembered, obviously, they're in the finale.
Yeah.
But when the Doctor was talking to the controller or whatever, and she's like, my masters, like, I can only talk to you now. And I'm like, who are her masters? I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then you realize, obviously, it's the Daleks when Rose gets teleported to their ship.
Yeah.
But like, oh, man.
You realize it's the Daleks because they were like the Doctor's like at the machine and he takes away that whatever the filter was that was hiding them in space, and you see all of those Dalek ships, and he's like, those are Dalek ships.
Yeah.
Just and then like look of terror as he sees that.
How many there are.
No, and Captain Jack's like, I know those ships. Yeah. And you're like, ooh. Yeah. The fact that he knows about them's kind of weird. Anyway.
Well, he's a time agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Solved it.
Yeah.
BuzzFeed Unsolved. Now solved.
Exactly. I just want to link back to like something I said earlier in the long game, just like the Doctor realizing that he created this whole situation by interfering before.
When he was like, I was here 100 years ago, and she's like, that's when it started to go wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh
shit.
Oh.
You're like, oh no.
Yeah, that's
like this is meant to be the fourth and great bountiful human empire or something. Yeah. He's like, I set it back, and then she's like, nope, you didn't. You made it way worse.
Yeah.
Oh man, I just like how those two like kind of link up. But
yeah, and obviously, you know, it being in the same setting as the long game as well with the satellite.
Yeah, exactly.
The game station.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
and like floor 500 is where they're all controlling everything.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, I just love the tension just that's built up throughout the episode. Like the Doctor getting out of Big Brother eventually. Like he sees the first lady that dies in the Big Brother show. I forgot her name
the contestant. Anyway,
yeah, something weird, and then he realized something is wrong. I think he knows from the start. He's like, no,
and he's like, go on, evaporate me.
Yeah.
Go on, like,
do it.
Yeah,
and then he doesn't die.
Yeah.
But like it's just the build up from that, and the build up in when Rose is playing that game,
the weakest link,
because she gets to like the final round with I think his name is Roderick.
Yeah, whatever, from Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yeah, too.
And she's running towards the Doctor.
Yeah.
And she gets evaporated right in front of him, and like it's like the silence of like, you know, the guards are grabbing Jack and he's just like staring.
It's the sound design of that is perfect because it's all like kind of blurred and muted, muted, and like it's just him staring at the ground.
And then, you know, when they're being put in the prison cell and being read their rights, and he's just staring. Yeah. And he's not saying a word. Yeah. Until he goes, "We doing this?" Or like, or like, "Let's do this," or whatever. Yeah. And then just becomes a bamf. Yeah,
and Captain Jack just breaking out.
And he walks and he's like standing in the elevator with the fucking gun in his hands. And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, and he goes up to the dude and he's like, "Don't be an idiot. Do you think I'm going to shoot?" And like kicks the gun.
Throws him the gun. And he's like, I'm talking. He's like, "I'm holding the gun." He's like, "Shoot me. What's going on here?" Like, just the way again, the Chibnall era butchered that. They tried to do a similar moment to that. Like,
really?
Yeah, with like, with, you know, because the Doctor and guns is, you know, it's an ongoing thing. But like, and the fucking Tennant moment of the difference between you and me, I never would. Yeah. Oh, so anyway, that's such a good episode.
Yeah, it really is.
But yeah, it's a really excellent moment where it really shows the characters, like, you know, ongoing. You know, these are the same traits he's had for all of his regenerations. Yeah. And it shows it really clearly in that moment when he's like, "I'm not going to use it," and he throws the gun to the other guy that he's like talking to. Yeah. But yeah, and then, holy shit, after the Dalek ships are revealed, and like he's talking to them on the monitor, and he's like, you know, he's like, "I don't have a plan," and he's like, "Doesn't that just terrify you?" or whatever. And then the Rose, "Yes, Doctor, I'm coming to get you." No. And he turns off the screen. Yeah.
No, and that ends the episode. Yeah. So good. No, what does he say? The Daleks say something. They're like, I can't remember what they say, and he's like, "No." The Daleks say, "What do you mean, no?" I said no. You're like, oh, mate. It's just the first time the Daleks come up on the screen and you just see the Doctor's face. He's like that. He does something with his face and then he's like, "Hello." And then he goes really serious again. You're like, fuck, man.
Eccleston is so good at that. Like,
every interaction between him and the Dalek in this whole series is just perfect. It's just so
It's a shame we never got anything that good ever again with the Daleks.
No. Like, it really wasn't.
They're not menacing after series 1.
No.
They're just, except for maybe Doomsday and Army of Ghosts.
Yeah, I think they still are because it's just the 4 Daleks, but they're you know, super strong.
Is that the Cult of Skaro?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah,
they're great. Oh my god! And then the just Cult of Skaro reminded me of like the blaspheming Daleks. And it's
okay, we'll talk about the final episode, the parting
of the way. Well, I've kind of been jumping between because it's all one thing to me. I've been jumping between them.
Yeah,
but like, like since when did Daleks blaspheme?
When did Daleks have a concept? Oh yeah,
blaspheme. Yeah.
Sorry, I've watched these episodes so many times.
I watched it the other night. I'm still misquoting it.
That's funny.
But yeah. Which part do you like more? Do you like Bad Wolf or the Parting of the Ways more?
Oh god, I think it's hard to choose. I probably would say the Parting of the Ways. Oh, do I though?
I think for me it's the Parting of the Ways.
I think it's the Parting of the Ways, but
purely just for the moment when the Doctor's building the Delta Wave and he's like, "I've got it," and he's like, "Rose," and they run into the TARDIS and he's like, "Hold this here." He's like, "I just need to go outside and power up the game station." And he runs out and he stops and his face drops. And he turns back to the TARDIS.
Just looks so sad.
And he sends it away and Rose is like screaming.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just holy crap, dude. Like for that moment alone, I think Parting of the Ways. Yeah.
But then obviously hologram shows up in the TARDIS and
I wrote that down actually. Yeah, when the hologram comes up, and and Rose has walked around the side of it, and she's looking at it, and then he's like, "And do one thing for me, Rose." And the hologram turns to look at her. Oh my God. And he's like, "Have a fantastic life."
Yeah.
Oh,
so good.
Yeah. Sorry. Have a good life. Yeah. Do that for me, Rose. Yeah. Have a fantastic life.
There it is again.
Yeah.
I just like the so just to jump a bit earlier in the episode, how much effort they have to go through just to take down one Dalek. At the start, because they like transport around the Dalek with I think Rose is standing next to it. Yeah. And they use the I think it's the extrapolator from Boomtown. Yeah. To like reverse the beam and destroy it. Yeah. And they're like, that was just one Dalek. And they walk out. And then he has that moment where he talks about him being the oncoming storm.
Yeah, yeah. I forgot that he said that. Yeah. I forgot that wasn't... Because I remember, like, Smith saying that. Like, I forgot that Eccleston said that, Like, yeah.
And he's like, I bet you've got one emotion deep down. Oh, it's like fear. Doesn't it just spark when you see me? Or something along those lines.
Yeah,
it's like,
brilliant.
Oh, and they all, like, back up a little bit.
Yeah.
No, what does he say? It's something that's like, if anyone's going to be scared, it's you. And he like shouts out.
No, because they're like, do not interrupt.
Yeah.
And he's like,
you're forgetting something.
Yeah. And he's like, he doesn't say I am talking. He turns around and he's like, he says like, you shut up or something. He turns around and yells and they all like back into the wall. That's so powerful, man. Like, it's so real when he said that.
Yeah. And then he sees the Dalek Emperor. You get like, oh shit.
And I was just gonna say, well, the interactions with the Dalek Emperor, and especially then jumping forward when he's holding the Delta like wave, and the Dalek Emperor says, "I want to see you become like me. Hail the Doctor, the great exterminator." And again, so that's the "you would make a good Dalek" line being paid off, but this time we get the "what are you, Doctor? Coward or killer?
Coward any day."
Any day. And he drops his hands like, oh.
Just like a perfect like character development throughout the entire series.
Like building from the very beginning, reaching a peak in Dalek and then paying off beautifully. Yeah. And again, following his conversation with Margaret in Boomtown. Yeah. And like, like, hail Doctor, the great exterminator. Yeah. Like, it's fucking brilliant, man. The character writing is just off the chain.
Yeah. And it's just, there's this one moment when they're talking about how he created the Dalek army, and he's like, "Oh, we got them all from like dead humans and stuff." Yeah, and it makes you almost
I forgot about that.
It's like this weird moment where you kind of pity the Daleks just a little bit.
Yeah,
because like all of their emotions and stuff have been like, I forgot what he says, but like to turn into like a pure Dalek, and you're like, oh. Fuck.
Yeah, and he's like, they hate their own being. Yeah, that makes them more dangerous than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man.
It's like, again, like sort of the Cybermen sort of use that idea later on as well.
Yeah.
Like with Ashard, the lone Cyberman from the 13th Doctor's run, a brilliant character.
Yeah.
One of the only good characters in that series.
Literally. But it just builds perfectly on, about how emotions sort of combine with the Daleks in that episode, and just like how dangerous that can be. Like, it's so good.
And then obviously, just the way that like, Captain Jack rallies all the people, and it's like the sort of like romance between the two people who work at the game station.
True.
And she shoots the Dalek in the eye stalker, and she's like, I got one, and then gets fucking shot. And then he's like, no, and then he gets shot as well.
Like,
and Jack being the last guy standing. Then dying.
It's just like this massive sense of dread and hopelessness.
Yeah.
How are they going to get out of this?
And then Rose coming back.
Yeah.
Like with the heart of the TARDIS. Like having looked into the time vortex.
And then all the interactions that she has with Jackie to lead up to that moment. And Mickey wanting to help.
Yeah, when she's talking about, and she's like, no, I can't live this life anymore. And Mickey's like, well, nothing left for you here. And she's like, no, there's nothing left for me here. And just Mickey then going, all right, I'll help you.
Yeah.
Like, because he's accepted that.
He's just accepted that they're not going to be a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Well, it's just that whole scene in the cafe. She's like talking about basically like how great the Doctor is, but he's like, he doesn't do it for selfish reasons. He wants to help people. It's just like all these great messages that this whole series had like been leading up to. Like,
and then she's like, I can't live this life. And they're like, what, like us? And she's like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, I get it. Yeah. I get where she's coming from. She's a bit of a dick about it. But like,
she's like,
where she's coming from.
But she's like, I didn't mean it like that. But like the Doctor showed us like there's a better way of living your life. So she's not like she's sort of being a bit of a dick in that scene, but you see where she's coming from. I see exactly
where she's coming from, yeah. And again, because she's a human being with complex emotions and thoughts.
Exactly.
It's fucking brilliant. It's Russell, it's fucking brilliant.
It's so good. I'm so glad you're back.
Yeah, he's watching this, dude.
Yeah,
he might. He fucking might, you know.
You never know.
Might.
Or smooch from Tyler.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about Parting the Ways?
Oh, I mean, other than the very final moments with Rose and then the regeneration.
So good.
Yeah, it's like Rose coming out and her being like, you know, just like, how can I give up this power?
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, you have to. It's going to fry your brain. Like, I mean, like, look, I think honestly, like, the kiss was a bit dramatic.
It was a bit weird.
It was a bit dramatic. Like, especially because, like, the companion-doctor relationship has never been that way. And so, like...
Yeah.
But then that set a precedent for how much I hate Rose in season 2.
Yeah.
And then, like, Clara... I hated Clara in her first season with Capaldi for that reason, too. Like, it's
kind of alluded to there might be, like, a love kind of relationship, and nothing really happens, and then they kiss, and you're like...
But the way that they do it, though, they're building up, like, their friendship and their relationship, and you don't need to see them kiss. Like, I already felt like these were two people who clearly loved each other, but they didn't need to say it. They didn't need to show it, because them being together was enough, you know? And it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, and you already saw that from, like, you know, how desperate she is to get back. To him.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Didn't have to do it. It never bothered me that much when I watched it the first time, but now that I think about it more, so I'm like, that's a bit weird.
Now that we've got the hindsight of having seen like Rose with Tennant and then seeing Clara with Capaldi and like, you know, like seeing, and again then seeing how fucking good Bill is a companion. Bill is as a companion.
And Donna as well.
And Donna is Donna and Bill, the best two companions, the ones with no romantic attachment to the Doctor. It's almost like that works.
Yeah.
It's almost like you don't need to have the companion in love with. And Martha toes that line, obviously.
Yeah.
But I really like, I'm excited to rewatch season 3 with Martha, because like I've been very critical on her in the past, and the more I think about season 3, the more I'm like, actually, no, I'm keen to watch that again.
She's interesting. It's kind of weird, but I think it's done in a really good and interesting way. I'm keen for you to rewatch it.
But yeah, the regeneration though.
It's my favorite regeneration
big time.
All of the Doctors. Yeah. It's just so like, I don't know, it just brings everything together from season 1.
Yeah.
And you can just tell that the 9th Doctor, he's finally sort of over the Time War. He's sort of forgiven himself now.
Yeah.
And
he's accepted.
He's sort of accepted
what's going on around him.
Yeah.
And, you know, and Rose helped him reach that point.
Yeah.
And for him to sacrifice himself to save Rose. I get, like, it's just brilliant. And the and just, his last words, you were fantastic, like utterly fantastic. And you know what? So was I.
Yeah, and he's just so happy. It's just that grin. It's that grin at the end.
That fucking
grin. But he's just like making jokes, like at the start of that scene.
And he's like, I was going to take you to Barcelona, not the city, but the planet.
Like our dogs with no heads. Yeah. I want to see that.
But then,
and then he starts looking at his hand, and you're like, oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like you thought it'd be okay. But...
heartbreaking, because it's like, I just wasn't ready to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Wasn't
he sang
ready.
a song and the Daleks went away. Sorry, I thought about it in my mind.
Sang a song and the Daleks went away.
I was like, it was just so hard to, like, you go through that whole season, you love Christoper from episode 1 all the way. He's just so consistently good from the word go, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, it's insane, dude.
He needs to come back at some, like, I know he's come back through audio. Now. I know, but I just want to see him, like, in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
At least one more time.
Yeah.
Whilst Russell's doing the show again. Surely, right?
Maybe.
Surely. Because he said, like, going off track, that he initially joined Doctor Who because he loved Russell T Davies' work, and he loved working with him. That's one of the reasons why he joined, so...
Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
Hey!
And I think that's a great place to wrap it up.
But yeah, I think as if the message wasn't clear, season 1 of Doctor Who is fucking top immaculate.
Tier. Yeah.
Like, I mean, and as if it wasn't clear, I think we're going to keep doing these episodes. You know, whenever we both get the chance to rewatch seasons, like, we'll sit down and do an episode like this per season.
Yeah.
Nice, easy bit of content talking about something we both love.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm interested to see how season 2 goes.
I looked ahead at the episode listing for season 2, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot in there that I'm keen for. I'm keen for the Cybermen episodes.
Yeah.
Because I remember really liking those.
Mm-hmm.
Super fucking hype for Love and Monsters. Doomsday,
My favorite episode.
Doomsday and Army of Ghosts are really good episodes.
The Impossible Planet and Satan's Pit.
Yeah, I really like those.
The two best of season 2.
Yeah, I'm not at all keen for Tooth and Claw. Like, I don't remember liking that in the slightest. No. So, anyway, but I'm excited as hell for Christmas Invasion.
Yeah, that's a really good
I'm excited for that episode.
Yeah.
Tennant is so good. Anyway, but yes.
He's barely in it.
That'll be a future podcast.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's another kind of different episode for
our longest one yet.
Oh, yeah, it will be.
It definitely is. Yeah.
It's, just by looking at my computer, it's almost an hour and a half. So hope you enjoy us talking about Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed talking about it.
Certainly enjoyed. I wrote 4 pages of notes. Like, of course I was keen for this.
Yeah.
But
the Ninth Doctor is my favorite Doctor. Season 1's my favorite, so I'm just glad we got to talk about it so much. And he's your favorite besides John Pertwee.
Absolutely. Pertwee and Eccleston are my two faves.
I guess our favorite New Who Doctor. Then.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Please follow us on everything socials, Instagram, the TikToks, the YouTubes.
X.
Yeah.
Subscribe, like, comment. You know all the drills.
Yeah, you know the drill.
Sharing this around. Yeah.
I think that's the main thing. Just share it around with your friends, your family, I guess.
Do you like Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Because that means you probably know someone else who does. Tell them about this.
Yeah.
It's a fun episode, I think.
Please do.
I like it.
Cool. Well, thanks for listening, guys. And I guess, do you remember where you park your TARDIS? You should probably...
Oh, dude, that's still running on the meter.
Fuck.
Oh, dude.
Go get it, dude.